Thank you.
It's so good to meet you. How are you?
Fantastico.
Fantastico, fantastico. We have some friends in common. They say there's 6 degrees of separation between each and every one of us, but we got just one because we're friends with Tedua.
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 Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
What about? Yeah, your bro. Yeah. What about your friendship with him?
Well, it started when he called me to do his album cover, and I was looking for Jesus.
Yeah.
For my
as everybody
series.
does. Yeah.
Yes, as everyone does, should be. And I didn't know of him. And so I was, you know, I heard an Italian rapper, and usually the rappers in Europe, you know, German, French, they try so hard to be extra with the tattoos. And so I really, you know, I get lots of calls, and I didn't really think about it. I didn't know, I forgot his name. And then on Tuesday night, I was praying, God, if I'm meant to do this project, I want to do the Stations of the Cross, then give me a sign. In the morning, I woke up and I said, the Italian rapper. I'm like, where'd this come from?
Yeah.
And I got him on the phone at 6 a.m. And I was in Hawaii, and I saw him, and I looked and I said, that's my Jesus. Because I needed a sensitivity in the eyes, and he needed to look like he was from Nazareth, from the Middle East. And we talked about his album cover, and I said, well, I want to do an art project too. He said, okay. He was so excited and so committed. And he fasted for days before we did the pictures of Christ. And
yeah, I heard that. How many days?
I don't know. But that night was
because he has to be like
it really was
Jesus skinny.
Because I was really looking for 6 months for someone to play this part. I needed somebody not too pretty. They needed to be handsome but not pretty, you know?
Okay.
And really committed. He's really an artist.
Yeah.
And he really took it serious. At one point he was crying. It was an amazing experience.
Yeah, so not having tattoo is the key.
Pardon?
Not having tattoos
can
be...
They try, a lot of times the European rappers try so hard to be American
I know what
gangster. And he's very different. He's really on his own. He's his own man, his own artist. He's not trying to be something else.
Yeah.
And they call him the poet. You know, his nickname's the poet, and he really deserves this nickname.
Yeah. And religion...
There's poetry in his eyes.
Yeah, he got these eyes. Yeah. And religion is a huge topic in your heart, and it's also hard to handle because it can be touchy.
It can be, yeah. People get very freaked out over Christianity, you know.
Yeah. Does it ever happen to be like protested against or something like that?
I mean, people in the art world, they kind of dismiss it, you know, and that's why my work in South America and the Philippines and in Asia is different than and in Italy, you know, they're more open to this idea because people in the art world think it's not sophisticated unless it's blasphemous or ironic, and it's not. I'm doing the tradition, but in photography, in a new medium.
Yeah, I was a huge fan of Jesus Is My Own Boy series.
Thank you.
Yeah. Beautiful picture, beautiful, amazing. And your career took off in New York.
Yes.
In the early 80s. Yeah. When you met Andy Warhol. What do you remember about the atmosphere back then?
I started in galleries, and I was working in galleries, and I was photographing weddings to pay for my gallery exhibitions because nobody was buying my pictures. And then Warhol's team came to my exhibition, and I'd seen Andy in all the clubs. He was very accessible. He was always out at night, and I went out at night all the time. But I never talked to him until I had some pictures in the gallery. Then I invited him, and they hired me to interview. And I took Andy's last portrait before he died, 2 weeks before he died, and I worked at interview. That was like my home. That was where I learned, you know, schooling.
And what about New York in the 80s? It's pretty different from now, right?
It was incredible. It was incredible. It was the best of times, you know, with all the artists, Jean-Michel Basquiat, Keith Haring. You had incredible music happening, you know, and Jeff Buckley, you know, Hallelujah. It was a very small scene, the East Village. Everybody lived there. RuPaul, everybody. We're all friends. And we'd see each other out at night.
CBGB's was still open.
CBGB's, my roommate, this girl, she worked there. And I stayed at her apartment. You know, I think she still lives in the same apartment from '79. I was
Wow.
14 when I first came.
Yeah.
And people say, how do you get into the clubs at 14? I said, because I was 14, they let me in the club. Because, New York back then was twisted.
Yeah, but is that you had enough of it? Because I know you probably went there because you wanted to be left alone, but Tedwa told us where you live.
Yes.
Okay, when he came. India Y, right?
My address?
Yeah, almost. It was like close like that to tell us the address.
And my phone number?
No.
It's okay.
Only you got
Call
it.
me.
Yeah. Why you choose to go to Hawaii?
I love the forest. I grew up as a little boy. I was always alone in the woods. I always spent time alone by myself in the woods. And when I was very young in New York, I prayed for a cabin in the woods one day, because that's where I feel close to God and nature. That's God's cathedral, the forest. And this is what I wanted, to be a cabin in the woods.
Is it true that Lady Gaga came over to write some music?
Yeah, well, she came when she was very starting out, and she was just blowing up. Paparazzi just came out, and she came there. She was dating a friend of mine, and they were having a great time, and we were. It was very funny. She doesn't know this, but I couldn't believe she was 23 at the time. Because she was so smart. And one day we were all skinny dipping at this beach, and her purse was open. And I looked at her. Her driver's license was right there. I didn't.
I
just
take
kind of looked at the
peek.
because I couldn't believe this girl was so brilliant.
Yeah.
And I didn't believe she was 23. So I looked and saw her date, but sure enough, she was just a baby.
Yeah.
And she wrote this amazing.
This beautiful shot of Lady Gaga, amongst the other, yes. I mean, how hard is it to become so close to these big personalities? There's another one of Amy Winehouse. What can you tell us about Amy?
Amy and I became friends, and she was so lovely and so down to earth, and really had a funny sense of humor. And she was with that boy Blake, and I really could see why she was attracted to him. Everybody blamed him, but I think that the two of them together was a difficult combination.
Yeah, not good.
But I could see why she loved him. I could see he's charismatic, and I think fame is very difficult. There's so much fame. At one time, I think she would have been a singer like Billie Holiday in the smaller clubs in a different time. Jazz singing, blues in smaller venues. Maybe not this age we live in where the fame is so huge and arenas and it's so intense with social media. It just never ends.
Yeah.
So fame is a very difficult thing, and so many people I've worked with, Whitney Houston and Amy, and so many people, George Michael, it's hard.
Talk about difficult of fame. There's another one. I remember this picture. I think it was a Rolling Stone cover.
Yeah.
Right? Britney Spears. What about this shot? What about Britney?
Well, I've photographed Britney more than any other photographer, and done like 2 videos with her. And it was always something was off, with the family and the parents when they're working, as agents for the child and making them be bambini beauty pageants and these things. It's a difficult thing when your parents are also your managers and making money from you, because you go to your mom and dad for advice. I went to my mom and dad, and they would give me advice not based on like what was going to make more money. They would give me advice from my life, what was good for me. My parents didn't care if I worked as a garbage man, as long as I was a good person. They didn't care about what money I made. So when you mix family and money, it's a very difficult thing. And then worldwide fame, it can be very destructive. If you don't have imagine not having a mom and a dad really, and having that worldwide fame. It's a very difficult road. That and everybody wanted to be here, and I remember thinking, she doesn't want to be here. We were doing a video, she didn't want to do it, and nobody, the record company, the management were like, you're the only one who can And I had to go say, Brittany, you wrote the song every time. Let's finish it. I don't want to finish it. We got enough yesterday. We have to finish it.
Have you told her
narrative?
that? Have you told her this?
I had to go talk to her because nobody could talk to her. Her aunt, her manager.
Wow.
So they sent me to ask her to finish the video. You know, she didn't want to finish, and I thought to myself, this is so bizarre. It's early. I thought everyone in the world wants to be this girl, but her.
But her, yeah.
It's
That's
strange.
yeah. That's tricky. Yeah, that's
Very
tricky in a way. Another one. Have you had the chance to see the documentary?
Not yet.
Not yet. It's very good. It's David Beckham. David Beckham. I think this shot was taken in 2002.
He was so much fun, but he was like a rock star. You know? And I put on Tupac. You know. Had the music really loud. So when he came out of the dressing room, he just felt like a rock star.
And it was comfortable with that because he seems
I
very shy.
I make people feel like a rock star. No. He loves getting.
Yeah. Okay.
He's shy, but he's a great dad. The kids were little then, and he was so engaged with his children. It was very endearing. You know, he was such a good dad, and really sweet guy. But he loved that rock star.
Yeah.
He loved having his picture taken, and I make it fun for people. And when they're having fun, you know, then you get great photos.
Yeah, and we got the last one, another rock star, which is Travis Scott here. Questo è ancora Beckham e Travis Scott. How is him?
Oh, well, he just
it
let
looks
me
like
do
he's
whatever.
always in the future.
He let me do whatever I wanted.
Yeah.
I made the drawing and the concept, and the day of the shoot, he was at a football game. He didn't even come. So I was like, really had freedom to just do my thing. You know?
And it looks to me like he's always looking at tomorrow because he has been the first one to do a show in a virtual world like Fortnite and stuff like that. Talking about AI, are you afraid of that? Do you think no?
No, I'm afraid of other things. Not
but AI is not
artificial intelligence. I'm working on my organic intelligence rather than artificial intelligence. I'm still working on my own intelligence quotient.
Okay. Yeah, it's good. That's good for you. I think it's what everybody should do. Dave, it went off so quick. I have to say goodbye to you. Thank you very much for coming. But before you go, before you go, I would like to ask you a little favor, if you let me.
Yeah.
Is it okay?
Si.
Okay. So before I let you salute these people, ladies and gentlemen, David LaChapelle, everyone. I'll come with you, David.
Grazie.
We can go this side. Un grandissimo applauso per David LaChapelle. Come, David, come with me.